3 years building a sales division from nothing to $500 million a year, and I was replaced in less than 10 seconds by a girl who still flinched every time someone challenged her in a meeting. Holding everyone, please, Avery Dale said, tapping her tablet like she was calling class to order. Her voice was bright, strained, too cheerful to be honest. Then she looked straight at me. Effective immediately. That position belongs to Liam. The room froze. No one spoke. No one even breathed loud enough to be heard. I stared at her, wondering if she realized what she had just said out loud. Liam Hale sat 2 chairs down, eyes wide, shoulders stiff. He was younger, smart in small ways, but nowhere near ready for a leadership seat, and he knew it. He didn't even try to hide the panic swallowing his throat. "Avery," I said quietly, "explain that." "It was a board-level discussion," she replied, though her uncle, the actual chief executive officer, had been traveling through Europe for almost 6 months and could not have been in any boardroom. "Liam has potential, and the team needs a different energy." Energy. I let the word fall flat. Is that what this is? Her jaw tightened. She never liked that I questioned her decisions, not since I corrected a pricing error in front of senior leadership 4 months ago. She had been circling this moment like a hawk waiting for something to die on its own. "Our decision is final," she added, glancing at the silent directors lining the table. No one met my eyes. I reached for my badge. No shaking, no theatrics. Just a slow lift of my hand and the quiet click of plastic hitting polished wood. "I'm done," I said. Avery blinked like she thought I might negotiate. Liam opened his mouth but closed it again, terrified he might get pulled into whatever storm she had just summoned. The room stayed painfully still, the kind of stillness that lets you hear your own heart deciding it has had enough. I walked out holding nothing but the weight of what they had just thrown away, knowing that walking was the easy part. The real trouble waited on the other side of those closing doors, and I felt every step pulling me closer to it. The elevator doors closed on the conference room floor, and before they even reached the lobby, my mind dragged me backward 3 years to the first time I stepped into that building. 3 years, William Dale had said, leaning back in his chair. "You think you can build a full regional sales division from nothing in 3 years? Ms. Walsh, I do," I told him. "If you let me run it my way." He smiled then, the kind of tired smile only people who have lived through downturns and bankruptcies have. Pittsburgh has chewed up bigger promises than that. Prove me wrong. Steel prices were climbing. Freight companies were striking. Everyone was terrified of signing long contracts. I spent nights on video calls with shippers on the West Coast, mornings arguing with mills in Ohio, and entire weekends with spreadsheets open while the Monongahela River turned black outside the window. 40 containers at the pre-increase rate. I had told a supplier once at midnight, "You lock that in for us and I will route every new project through you for a quarter." "You are insane," he said. "But I like insane that pays on time." We hit our first $100 million in annual revenue less than 18 months after I started. William walked into my office, slapped the doorframe, and laughed. "You were supposed to be a risk," he said. "Instead, you are my safest bet." The first time I met Avery, she did not look at me. She looked at the chart behind me. "So this is your miracle worker," she said to her uncle. "Or just the person you give credit to until you change strategy again." When I suggested freezing low-margin accounts to protect capacity, she rolled her eyes in front of the team. "Maren loves drama," she said. "She always talks like the world is ending." I kept my tone steady. "The numbers say it is ending for someone. I would prefer it not be us." 3 years of fighting through shortages, strikes, and price swings, and in the end, it took Avery less than 10 seconds to wipe my name off the story. The moment the elevator doors opened on the lobby, my phone buzzed, then again, then non-stop. "Maren, we know this was wrong." Jenna wrote. None of us agreed with it. Right underneath, "Please tell me you are not actually leaving," from David, and then Avery is losing it. She thought you would fight, not walk. I kept walking, gripping my notebook. The badge was still on that conference table like a severed limb. Another message came in, this one from Liam. Can you send me the tiered pricing layout? I cannot find the updated version. I stared at the screen. The man who had just been handed my job could not navigate a document he was supposed to manage by the end of the day. A second message arrived before I could breathe. Also, which suppliers honor the pre-increase rates? Avery said you kept track. My teeth pressed together. He was already drowning. By the time I reached the glass doors, someone called my name. Maren, wait. Claire from Human Resources hurried toward me, breathless. You cannot leave like this. I already did. You should sit with us, talk through options. Avery is emotional, but we can smooth this out. I am not interested in smoothing anything, I said. This was a decision. I accepted it. Claire lowered her voice. Then at least do not make a scene. I let out a tired breath. I walked out quietly. Claire. They made the noise. Her expression cracked, and she stepped aside. If you change your mind, I will not. I pushed through the doors and felt the cold air hit my face. The confidence I showed them evaporated the second I reached the sidewalk. My chest tightened as the legal risks rushed back in the non-compete that could bury me for a year. The non-disclosure terms I could trip over without meaning to, the possibility of being blacklisted in an industry I had poured my life into. But I kept walking, notebook under my arm, their messages still vibrating in my pocket, each one saying the same thing. They were far more afraid of my resignation than I was. By the next morning, the messages changed from co-workers to clients. The first call came while I was making coffee. Maren, it's Corbin from Lark Materials, he said, skipping every polite formality. Who is handling our renewal? No one is answering. I cannot discuss internal operations, I said. I am no longer with the company. There was a long exhale. That explains the mess. Someone sent us an updated quote and it is wrong. Completely wrong. I cannot advise you, I repeated, forcing my voice to stay steady. I know. I just needed to hear a sane person confirm this is not how you worked. He hung up, and before the sound faded, another notification appeared, an email from Allegheny Steel Consortium. Subject line, urgent, new point of contact. Then a text from Marytech Supply. Are you gone? We just received a freight estimate that is off by almost 40%. My phone rang again. This time it was Victor Hart, one of my largest accounts. Maren, what is happening over there? His voice was sharp, accusatory. We got a quote from Liam and it lists the wrong steel category entirely. If we processed that, it would cost us hundreds of thousands. I cannot weigh in, I said, and I cannot correct anything. Then tell me if this is normal. It is not, I admitted softly. A minute later, Victor forwarded the quote. The freight terms alone were a disaster. Every instinct begged me to fix it, but touching it would violate at least 2 sections of my non-disclosure. I wrote down every call time, name, what they said, the fact that they reached out. I did not initiate anything. I did not offer a single solution. By noon, my phone had vibrated so much my hand felt numb. The collapse had not started on my watch, but it was unmistakably beginning. The first call that was not a client came just after 5 in the afternoon. Is this still Maren's number? A man asked. This is Daniel Cross from Ridgeway Industrial. I closed my eyes for a second. Ridgeway. Of course. You tried to hire me last year, I said. I did. He replied. You said you were building something you were not ready to walk away from, and now you are calling to enjoy the irony. He gave a short laugh. I am calling because half the city knows your company just pushed out the person who kept their sales division alive. I want to know if you are done saving them. I am under a non-compete, I said, and a non-disclosure. Whatever you heard, I cannot be your weapon. I do not need a weapon, Daniel said. I need someone who knows how to keep freight moving and contracts clean. Let my legal team talk you through the guardrails. 10 minutes later, I was on a video call with a woman named Priya from Ridgeway's legal department. "Here is the line," she said, screen glowing with clauses and highlights. "You cannot solicit. You cannot bring over proprietary documents. You cannot promise anyone that you will move their business." "That is most of what I do," I muttered. Priya shook her head. "Not quite. You can respond if they come to you on their own. You can build new structures. You can design strategy. You can answer questions about public information. What is killing them right now is not secret. It is incompetence." Daniel leaned into frame. "We will put it in writing. High-tier consultant. You choose your hours. You choose your clients within what Priya just outlined." I stared at the offer. My old company was already burning and I was standing outside, empty-handed. "Send the contract," I said. "I will read every line." I was reviewing the Ridgeway contract line by line when my email pinged with the subject line, "Immediate Transition Inquiry, Allegheny Steel Consortium." For a moment, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Then I opened it. "Ms. Walsh, we request confirmation on whether you remain our primary contact. If you are no longer with your previous firm, we will transition our full account to the company you have partnered with moving forward. Allegheny Steel Consortium." I read it twice, then a third time. I had not called them. I had not written a word. They were the single largest client the company had, nearly $140 million annually. And they were saying, without hesitation, that their business followed me. I forwarded the email to Daniel and added one line: "I did not initiate this." He called immediately. "Maren, do not respond. Sending it to legal now." A few minutes later, Priya appeared on a video call, her glasses pushed up, hair tied back like she had run from another meeting. "Show me the header," she said. "Do not paraphrase." I shared my screen. She scanned it, then nodded. "This is clean. Completely inbound, not a single trace of solicitation." "You are safe. This is their biggest account," Daniel said softly, like he could barely believe it. "If they move, the others will not wait long." I sat back, still stunned. "I did nothing." Priya's voice sharpened. "Exactly. That is why it will stand. They trust you. They do not trust the chaos happening over there." Another email came in. 2 directors from Allegheny copied this time. Daniel exhaled. "This is going to explode across every supplier call in the city." I did not smile. I did not celebrate. I just stared at the message that made everything real. Allegheny was leaving them. They were choosing me. The week after Allegheny moved was a blur of pings and forwarded threads. Daniel walked into my temporary office at Ridgeway, holding his phone like it might bite. "They just sent a revised contract to Meritech," he said. "Liam listed spot pricing as fixed for 12 months. That is not a typo," I said. "That is a landmine." 10 minutes later, my personal phone buzzed. It was Lena from Meritech. "Maren, did you see this?" she demanded. "They are trying to lock us into a rate that is already above market, and the surcharge section is blank. I cannot comment on their document." I said, "All I can tell you is to have your legal team read every line." "We did," she snapped. "That is why I am calling you, not them." Another call came in from Lark Materials. I let it roll to voicemail. Then an email appeared from a supplier I used to mediate with. "Per our agreement." It read, "Penalties will apply for missed volume thresholds. No extension granted." I forwarded it to Daniel. He whistled under his breath. "Suppliers are done giving them grace," he said. "They used up all their goodwill on your reputation." By midweek, someone from my old team finally called. "It is Jenna," she said quietly. 3 senior reps resigned yesterday. Compliance flagged 6 contracts Avery signed. William is flying back from Hong Kong tonight. No one knows what he has been told." "Are you okay?" I asked. "I am looking for exits," she said. "Like everyone with a working brain." The next morning, Daniel slid a printed list onto my desk. "These are the clients who asked if Ridgeway can review their contracts for errors." He said, "All inbound. All logged. Legal is comfortable if you help design the triage process." I picked up a pen. Then let us make sure they do not bleed out just because someone else refused to learn the basics. Avery emailed me at 8 in the morning with a subject line that did not match the panic in her tone. Coffee Pen Avenue Urgent. I accepted because Ridgway's legal team said there was no harm in listening. When I walked into the cafe, she was already there, elbows on the table, fingers trembling against her mug. "Maren," she said quickly, "this is not what it looks like." I sat down. "Then tell me what it is." "It is Liam," she blurted out. "He messed everything up. He told me he could handle the load. He lied. He told you what you wanted to hear." I said, "That is not the same." Avery's eyes flashed with defensiveness, and the market turned. Prices shifted too fast. No one could have predicted that. "I predicted it," I said calmly. "I wrote 3 warnings in the last quarter alone." "You always make things sound dramatic," she muttered. "Dramatic would have been ignoring the risks." I replied, "I described reality. You dismissed it." She leaned forward, voice sharp. "Then stop taking our clients." My jaw tightened. "I have not taken anything from you. They are leaving because of you," she said, desperate now. "Every time we lose another account, they mention your name. They mention competence." I corrected her. "They go where their businesses are safe. That is all." Avery's face crumpled at the edges, something between anger and fear twisting her expression. "You could help us," she whispered. "Just slow things down. I cannot fix mistakes I did not make," I said, "and I will not cover for decisions that were never mine." Her breath shook as she looked away, wiping her cheek with the back of her hand. "For what it is worth," I added quietly, "it did not have to end this way." Her shoulders curled inward, and for the first time since the day she took my job, she understood just how far beyond her depth she had been. Daniel called me into a conference room that did not have the usual glass walls. This one had a door that actually closed. "I am not firing you," he said, "in case you are wondering." "That would be an interesting plot twist," I said. He slid a folder across the table. "Ridgway wants to formalize what you are already doing. Strategic operations partner, profit share, voting seat on the advisory panel." I opened the folder. The title was there. In clean black letters, it looked unreal, like it belonged to someone braver. "This is fast," I said. "It is late," Daniel replied. "We should have done it when Allegheny walked in holding your name like a guarantee." Priya stepped in then, leaning against the doorframe. "Legal has reviewed everything. You are clear on all fronts. If you want this, it is yours." I signed. The first people I thought about hiring were not stars. They were ghosts. 3 seats. I told Daniel. 1 for an analyst who never got credit. 1 for a coordinator who has been doing 2 jobs. 1 for a rep who was always told they were not polished enough. "You already have names," he said. "I do." 2 weeks later, I sat across from Jenna, from a quiet data tech named Omar, and from a blunt account coordinator called Tessa. "You all deserved better where you were," I said. "If you want in, this is your shot. I will teach you everything I know. You will not be invisible here." Jenna's eyes filled, but she nodded. "I am in." News traveled in parallel. Priya dropped it on my desk between meetings. "Avery has been removed from management," she said. "The audit tore through every contract. Liam is out. The board called it gross negligence." I let the information settle. No satisfaction spike. No fireworks. Just a quiet understanding that the consequences had finally caught up to the choices that started this. I turned back to the whiteboard, where 3 new names were written under my own, and started outlining the work we were going to build together. The news broke on a Tuesday morning, dropped into my inbox by Priya without a single line of commentary. The attached report was stamped with the seal of an independent investigative committee. I opened it slowly, expecting something dense, something vague. It was neither. "Documented losses exceed $6 million, Priya said as she stepped into my office. every one of them tied to contract errors approved under Avery and Liam. I kept reading. Page after page listed the mistakes: mispriced steel categories, unauthorized freight terms, missed volume thresholds, expired rate protections. Not one of these errors existed when I left. They ignored every warning you wrote, Priya added. The board is calling it systemic negligence. I leaned back, the weight of it settling. What happens now? William has been formally disciplined, she said. He signed off on promotions without verifying qualifications. The board called it a breach of fiduciary duty. And Avery, I asked. Priya did not soften her tone. Permanently barred from any leadership or financial oversight role. It is in writing. She cannot touch a management again. Liam terminated with cause. They cited the audit directly. She paused. It is over. Maren. Completely over. Before I could respond, Daniel appeared at the doorway. They are restructuring the entire company, he said. Departments dissolved, leadership replaced. It is public. Investors have the full report. Whatever that place was, it is never coming back. A strange calm washed over me, nothing triumphant, nothing bitter, just clarity. I never needed to take anything from them, I said quietly. I just needed to stop letting them take anything from me. Daniel nodded once. So what now? I turned toward the whiteboard covered in the plans my new team and I had been building for weeks. New partnerships, new logistics models, new clients waiting to sign. We move forward, I said. That is all I ever wanted.